Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good evening, sir. Fine. How are you?
Good evening, Akhilesh.
Hi, Abhinandan.
Doing
Hi,
good.
Amnish.
Doing
Hello,
great.
Kali. Hi, Vaibhav, Sachin, Kapilji. Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, yes. Good evening.
Okay, so ready?
Yes.
Who all have watched the video which I shared on the group?
I didn't get time to watch the complete videos, Akhilesh, but I managed to watch a couple of them.
Okay.
Okay, so like number formatting, date formatting, time formatting, and all. Those are the basic one. So other
Great.
than that, I need to watch now. Yeah,
That's
this
a good
weekend.
start.
Yeah.
That's a good start. Not an issue.
Yeah.
Oh, I will share my screen. So I want to hear from you guys. What is data validation? Those who have watched the video or those who already know about data validation. What is it? Why are we discussing it? Anyone? What is data validation?
It is something to validate the data in a way such that if in something other format it will come, it will reject automatically.
Anyone else?
Akhilesh. So data validation is when we put the drop down, then we can have a different options so that if someone is updating any kind of spreadsheet, it's easy and whatever requirement we have, they can update based on that rather than having some vague data and different formats.
Okay, what's your name? It's showing Sachin here.
Yeah, she's
I'm-
my wife, actually.
I'm
Shraddha.
this way.
Great. Great. Okay. Anyone else? Akash, anything from your side? What is data validation? Why do we do it?
सर डाटा वैलिडेशन के हेल्प से हम मतलब फिक्स कर सकते हैं कि जो जो हम अपना मतलब इनपुट मतलब डाटा क्लीन रहेगा हमारा उससे मतलब अगर हमें डेट डालनी है तो उस पर डेट ही डालेंगे और जिस पे नंबर डालना है उस पे नंबर डालेंगे जिसमें हमें डेसिमल डालना चाहते हैं हम उस पे सेट कर देंगे कि डेसिमल और जिसमें डिपार्टमेंट जैसे है कि हम फिक्स करना चाहते हैं कि ये डिपार्टमेंट मेंशन करे अब जैसे कि कोई ह्यूमन रिसोर्स को ह्यूमन रिसोर्स पूरा लिख देगा कोई एचआर लिख देगा तो फिर ये अलग अलग ना हो जाए ऐसे इसलिए हम करते हैं
So that's the word I wanted to hear actually, data cleaning. Okay, so the problem is whenever I hope my screen is properly visible, my
Yes.
video as well as the audio. Okay, all good, all three?
Yes,
Yes.
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 Perfect.
Okay, great. So the problem is in my last 8 to 10 years of experience in report creation and dashboards, the majority of the time is spent in cleaning the data. Okay, and when I say majority, it means 60 to 70% of time goes into that process. Okay, now how to minimize that time of cleaning the data? So one way is you clean it, okay, clean the wrong data. Other way is you correct it at the point of entry itself. Okay, and if it is corrected at the point of entry itself, the work is passed on to the person who is entering it rather than you doing it. Okay, and that's why it becomes important, and it becomes very important in scenarios where, let's say, you are preparing a budget for next year for your organization. Okay, now you are in the central team, but you need to take numbers or some data inputs from various team members. Maybe let's talk about India. Okay, if you are planning your numbers at India level, maybe you need to take it from 30-35 states, right? Whichever way you are operating. Now, out of those 30-35 states, think of it, if we leave it to their judgment, okay, how to enter a particular date or a number or a department, then everyone will think differently. As Akash mentioned, human resource, HR, okay, people department, it can have various names for the same thing. And that's what we want to avoid, because 35 states file, when you want to consolidate, it will be a very big mess. Okay, now I will first start with very basics and then I will go to the detailed or advanced level validation. So let's say a person, now this video is already there in the course, so I will quickly run through it and then spend more time on the additional things. Okay, so let's say some person from HR is managing this list of employees, who is coming, what is his employee ID they are assigning, and then department, date of hire, and his salary. Okay, and someone is mentioning something like, okay, 10K, that's the salary. Then another person comes, someone is mentioning 5,000. Okay, here accounting, someone says accounts. Okay, and then someone says finance, which is similar to accounts, but it is a bigger umbrella. And like that, here employee 001. So someone says, okay, for the next person, let's call it Akash. Okay, so it's 002. So 002, because he thought that that is important. For the third person, he said 3. Okay, because he thought that E00 is common. Okay, so now there are 3 different patterns or 3 different departments for the same thing. And here, if you want to say what is my total monthly salary, which I need to pay, or I need to keep money for that, okay, I cannot sum because it is only showing 5,000 because of those mistakes. So we need to stop all these problems at the data entry itself. Now I will undo all these things. Okay, let's delete these things also. And this one is also deleted. Name, let's keep it free because name can be anything. Now, before starting your data entry or data validation, I would suggest you create a table. As we have discussed in the pivot tables also, before creating pivots, create a table. Okay, so I will press Ctrl T, and this data is having headers, 2 rows up to column E, that goods. Okay, now let's say I want to go for department. That's the simplest one, because most of the people understand data validation with respect to drop-down list. But that is just one thing out of the data validation. Okay, now department. So I need to have some fixed list of department. Now, next question is, where is that list? So if I go to next sheet, I'm having this column A, which is having some department items. Okay, so it's very simple to activate. So you be there in that one cell. Okay, if you are implementing it for multiple rows, so you select all of them and then do it. But that's the reason I said start with a table. Okay, so when you are in a table, select the current rows of the table. No need to select the new ones. Okay, so I'm selecting only this one. Then I'm saying go to data tab, and that's where I can find data validation. When I click on that, currently it is set to any value, and that is the problem for us. Like that means the other person can type anything. So when I go in this drop down, there are other possibilities. What kind of possibilities? You can type a whole number, decimal number, list, date, time, text length. So these are the different varieties based on which you can validate your data set. Okay, now let's go for list, because we wanted a list of departments to appear when we click on that cell. Now it is asking where is the source for that list. So I will select this, I will go to the other place, and then I will bring this. Okay, so this is what is needed, and then it will be done. But sometimes a person may be trying to do something and his entry is not getting accepted, and he will not be sure what is going wrong. He may not be aware that there needs to be certain like fixed list of items which needs to be chosen. Okay, so to make him aware, what you need to do is you can also use these input messages. So how does it help? So you can write something like, okay, please select a department from the drop down tool. Some message like that. Okay, so now this message will appear before he starts typing it in that cell. Then there is another section, and this is error message. If he is not following whatever instructions you have given or whatever validations you have given, you can put a message for that also. So you can type something like, okay, as funny as possible or as serious as possible. So don't use your brain, do what was told. Okay, you decide kya rakna hai. Then when I click OK, now nothing is visible. Let's say I am the person who is entering the data. As soon as I click or select that cell, the message is appearing, the input message, what you need to follow. Okay. And after that, if I type, let's say some, you can use this drop down if it is visible to people, and someone can select from that and it will allow. Let's say HR is there. And for HR, in place of HR, if I type human resource, something like that, when I press enter, it gives me the error message. If the instruction was not followed, then it will give you the next message. So this is a basic data validation which everyone understand. Like, okay, drop down lets people see and they are fascinated about them, and this is how it is set. Okay, now comes the other ones. Okay, let's go with salary. Now, what is this problem with salary? So salary is a number. It should be number. That's it. Nothing other than the numbers. Okay. So how to set up this? You can select that cell. Again, go to data validation and settings. In place of any values, you can go for whole number if your salary can be only in integers, or you can go for decimal. Now it is asking in the decimal, what is your additional criteria? So maybe I can say my salary should be greater than what is the minimum salary you can expect? Let's say 0. It should be more than 0. 0 cannot be a salary, right? Maybe for the founders or owners, it can be, but normally we'll say it should be greater than 0. And when I click OK, and again, input message and error alerts, they're all possible. And then click OK. Now, if I try to type 10,000, it is allowed. If I try to type minus 5,500, that's not allowed because that cannot be a salary. Negative salary cannot be possible. Okay. Or if I try to type, let's say 10K, short for 10,000, that is also not allowed because as much as possible, if it is a number column, it should be in numeric form. Then only we will be able to do all the calculations going forward. Okay. So that's numbers. That's drop down date wise. We saw a particular validation for date also. Here there's a date category. Again, what is the additional criteria for your dates? So let's say if it is date of hire, you can mention a particular date, that any date which I'm hiring people on should be more than that. Okay. So it can be, let's say, greater than, and start date, I can go for maybe here. Okay. I have a date of incorporation. That means whenever my organization was formed, nobody can join before that date, right? That's fact. Okay. So you can put any criteria, whatever dates you want to use, and then it will be followed. So what I said, that my date, it should be a date first of all, then it should be greater than this particular date. Okay. And here I will use F4 so that this date doesn't change when I drag, when I copy paste into other rows, and click OK. And here now dates are a little bit tricky because the format is varying from person to person or country to country. So here to help him additionally, what I can type a message that please enter a date, something like, and then I can type something like, okay, 14th of August and 23. Okay. So I'm guiding him that if you type your dates like this, it will never go wrong. Those who have completed first section, number formatting, date formattings and all, they know that how to type date correctly. If date is wrong, so many other things will go wrong. So I'm guiding him, okay, if you type your date something like this, it will never go wrong. And then error message is again optional, you can decide. So now if he tries to type something like, okay, 12th December and 22, that's allowed. If he tries to type 12th, okay, December, but 2020, it's not allowed because it is beyond or before the date of incorporation. So it is first checking whether it is a date or not. Because if you try to type something like, okay, 12.12.2022, we think that it is a date, but it is not a date as per the format. Okay. So those who have not gone through the date formatting and number formatting, go and check the first section and you will understand how to type dates, how to format them properly. So this is how you set date kind of validations. Now there's another one which you might have seen in when you are resetting your passwords for Gmail or any kind of system. They always say that it should be minimum 8 characters. One should be capital, one should be small or characters, all those things, symbols should be there. Okay, that is just a validation because they want to make it hard. Okay, so here, if I go for data validation, I can go for something like text length, and I can say that it should be equal to 4 characters, 5 characters, whatever is your uniform number of characters for that particular column. You just mention that much. And input messages you can type, because 4 characters can be anything. So you can type something like E00 and 4 or E0 to 9. Okay. So I can type this and click OK, and that will be followed. So this is basic data validation. Now, any questions till now from your side, how to set up any kind of validation? Okay, so that your rejection is done at the moment when it is getting entered. Any questions till now? By the way, this video is there already in the course, so you can check. Yes, Niranjan, any questions?
Yes, sir. My doubt is you have that department section, right? Where you choose the list of the departments. Can we set it as a table also and select in the main table?
Yes, we can. We can select a column of the table, not table. Okay.
Because suppose let's say tomorrow new departments get added. If we manually select.
I was about to come. Okay. Anyway, you asked. That's good. I will clear that now. Before that, any other questions on whatever we covered till now? Anyone?
One more I have, sir. That is, can we have one serial number column, which will have like 1, 2, 3, as and when we enter the data, it will automatically add +1 to the new row and get
It's
added.
possible. It's possible. I will quickly answer this. Okay, Sachin and family, please ask your question.
Yeah.
No, Akhilesh, yeah, same question. Like in department, if I want to edit, want to change any department, add something, so do I have to follow the same steps, like go to data, then data validation, and in the list I need
the range? Okay, that's one thing, but I would avoid that as much as possible. Okay, and I will show you how to do that. Okay. Regarding the serial number, if you want automatic serial number, I don't know how many of you are having Office 365. If that's the case, then there is a function known as sequence. So that can help you. Okay. If you are not having Office 365, I will show you other way also. That's very easy. So let's say here, what will be my serial number here? 1, right? If I have typed up to this, what will be my serial number? 2, right? So this one is 1 less than the row number. That's correct logically. So there is a function which I can write row. Row function gives the current row number, and I can type -1. Press enter. Now let's say I'm typing another person. Let's add Rupali's name. Automatically, because it is a table, the function is automatically copied to the next row, and it is again saying row number, which is 3 - 1, that means 2. So this will work in all the versions. Okay. Now I will tell you another method which is based on sequence function. Okay. Sequence function may not work in the table, but I will tell you outside the table. Let's keep a column outside the table. Okay. And there's another serial number which is outside the table. So here I will write sequence. The role of sequence function is to generate a list. Okay, what is that list? In terms of rows, or you want in terms of columns? We want vertical, so we want the list in terms of rows. How many you need to mention? So if I mention, let's say 2, it will generate from 1 to 2. If I mention, let's say 5, it will generate 1 to 5. Now I don't want to manually type if 5 lines are there, 10 lines are there. So what you can do, rather than this 5 or 2, whatever you were mentioning, you mention it something like this. Okay, let's say I want to mention it based on the names. So I can say, please count anything. Okay, count A will count anything in column C. Okay, and then I press, I close the bracket. So how many items are there in column C? 3. So you can see it is typing up to 3rd. So it is preparing the row for the next entry also. Let's say I enter the next one also. Hema. Okay. Then I mention another one. Amresh. Okay. You can see automatically it is populating. So it is a little bit more dynamic in nature. But if you don't have Office 365, go with the row function also. That will also work. I hope that's clear with everyone. Serial number thing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, great. Now coming to the dynamic part, which is quite important. Okay, because our number of departments or number of people, whatever we are trying to bring in the drop down, that will not stay same, right? So then how to accommodate the change? So one way is you select this, you go to data validation, and then you reselect this range, whatever you have mentioned. Okay. Second way is, okay, now second way is, I don't know how many of you have seen the name range section. Okay. Second way is this section, I will create a table for this. I will create a table, Control T. What's the name of the table? Currently it is table 2. Let me change it something better. TBL underscore and DEPT. Okay. So table name is TBL underscore DEPT. If I type something here, look at this. If I type something like this, and then I'm, let's say, typing TBL, my name appears. And if I type square bracket after that, it shows me the columns of that table. And this is the column. Closing the square bracket. So if I mention, if I recall somewhere, okay, table department, and out of that department column, so that will give me the list of values in that column. Okay, so automatically there is a name. Now what I will do, I will create a name range. Name range means, what is name? Giving a name to a particular group of cells. So I will create a name range. For that, I can go with name manager, define name. And here I will call it list underscore DPT. Okay, what is list of department? And here, currently it says D9 because I started when I was in D9. But that's not my range. I will mention this. And you know what it picks? It picks that this range, which I have currently selected. I just selected the list of departments, but it is actually a table, and inside that one particular column. So it has automatically picked. And now if I click OK. So what I did, I will just repeat it. So I created a name, and then I said, okay, what is the name and what is my selection for which I'm creating the name? And that range was a column from a table. Okay. Now, if you look at the name manager, this place has all the names which you create, a table, a pivot table, or any custom names also. So it is having table 1, I think the first page, table 1. It is having the list which I just created only for this section, and it is having the whole table also. This whole thing, which can have multiple columns also. Currently, it is only having one column, but it can have multiple columns also. So all the names are listed here. Now, when I'm creating the data validation, when I'm selecting the data for this data validation, I will not select this manual range, which is equivalent to same area, but I will not select it. I will type, let's say, I will type F3 because F3 will give you all the names which are there in this particular place. And it shows me my name range. Or it is not necessary to type F3. Okay, you can type your name directly. If I know my name is equal list underscore DPT, I can type it directly. But F3 will help you if you don't remember. Otherwise, you can go to the formula section, name manager, find that name and then type it exactly. Now, rest of the things you can keep on whatever you want. When I click OK, my data validation is still same. Okay, it's working same way. It shows me everything. But because it is a table and tables are dynamic, when I come to my master sheet and let's say I add a new cell, suggest me a department, new department, it's let's say
supply chain.
Okay, supply chain management. When I press enter, it is included in the table, which means it is included in that column, which means it is also there in that list underscore department because that was based on this column. And if we just check our data validation list, supply chain is automatically added. And not only increase, let's say tomorrow your management thinks that we are having too many departments, let's merge some of them. So logistics and supply chain, let's have logistics and SCM together and let's get rid of this one. Let's have sales and marketing together. Sales and marketing together. And then we get rid of this one. Now, if we look at our data validation again, it shows only the latest table. Okay. So that's how you can easily make your data validation dynamic. Now, one more thing, this is quite good. One thing which you need to remember is maybe you are changing this thing after making 100 entries in your data set. So the old entries which was having sales or which was having only marketing or logistics or SCM, they will show an error. Okay, because the entry was already made. Okay, and now you have changed the rules. So it will not erase that entry. It will just show you an error mark that, okay, this is not fitting the current validation. Maybe you can go and fix it. But if you try to modify it, then you have to follow the latest list. Okay, so that's how it works. For the old entries, you need to correct it in some manual ways. Any questions on the dynamic data drop-down list? Okay, I know that there were 2-3 steps. I will repeat that, but the recording is on. So you watch it again and again. Initially, it took me time also when I was going through it first time. Okay, so what were the steps? Steps are create the list and create a table around that. So that's table. Okay, find the create a name range for that column which you want to use in the validation. Okay, now some of you may think that why are you creating a name range? Okay, why can't we, so now it's already a table, why can't we just go there and say equal and select this range? Okay, because it physically takes those cells. It doesn't like talk to that place like a table, and that's why it will not be dynamic for us. Okay, so that's why to force it to follow the table rules, we are using that table and then we are creating a name range from that table, and then that name range we are putting in the drop down section. Okay, any questions on this?
Sir, that does not take the table directly Where you
We
press
cannot
the
take the table. In the drop-down list, you need a particular column. Table we cannot take because table can have multiple columns, and drop-down list doesn't work with multiple columns. Okay. It has to be one vertical list, one horizontal list, any kind of that thing. Okay. Because table, tomorrow, let's say today you are taking table, whatever was the name, TBL_department. What if tomorrow you come here and you type, okay, I have one serial number also. Now there are 2 columns. What will it show in the drop down? So that's why tables are not allowed, because it can expand in terms of number of columns. Okay. So you cannot take the table directly. So it's just one single step, right click or define name from here, or you can go to formula tab, define name from here, select the current list. So this is the current list. It will automatically pick up the name, okay, and then type a name and use that name in the drop-down list. That's it. Questions?
Sir, I'm not talking about here, sir.
Mhm.
In the page where we enter the data, right?
Yeah.
If you go, yeah, there, if you, instead of selecting the list, can we give the table?
No, we cannot. So you are saying that when we select data validation, here you want to mention the table name, right?
Correct, correct. Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. This place only allows a single column or a single row, or something which has one single. Okay. Table can go into 2 columns, 3 columns, 10 columns, right? That's why it doesn't allow. It will not work.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Okay. That's the reason. Next questions.
No, where you taken the list of the department, you have written the list of the department in the data validations column. Where you have taken list of the department. Could you open it again? The data validation tab.
Okay. So this is the place I wanted to apply the data validation. Then go to data tab and here data validation.
Yeah.
And I selected list, which list?
Yeah.
And then I selected the name of that list which I created. The name.
Yeah, yes. Yes. You already given the source from the is equal list of the department. From where you have been taken the list of the department. How we can give the naming of the list of department.
So you can type it manually, or you can press F3. Okay. F3 will suggest you whatever names you are having in this sheet. So you can select or you can type it manually also.
So
you should be aware of what name to use. Okay, that's
okay.
Can we, like in these drop downs, we can select only one option? Is it possible that we can select multiple options?
One option, multiple option means what, Kajal?
Like in the department, HR, finance, and
Yeah.
some more options are given. So if I want to select 2 options like HR and finance, can I do it all together?
No, you cannot. Drop down lists are made for only one value at a time. So you might need to create some value like this, which has a combination of 2 departments maybe, and that you can use, but it should be there in this list. Okay, but from the drop down, you have to select only one item. You cannot select multiple.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, this now we have taken to here. This is the single data, but how can you create that dependent one? Because if I come, so
coming.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah.
This is clear.
Carry
Then
on.
only dependent will be clear to you. Okay.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay. So creating names is easy, right? Everyone, how to create name? I think I explained it in one of the session. Okay. Okay, guys, those who are new, you might find a description in the WhatsApp group, and there is a link for Google Sheets, and that is having the list of all the recordings from the past sessions. Okay, from whenever we have started in operations in India, it is having all the recordings over there. So you can go and watch the old recordings also, how to create names and tables, all those things we have discussed already. So again, creating names, I'm just saying you can select a range, you can type a name here in the name box, or you can go to the formula bar and create a name from here also. Okay, and then put a name. Now, I am closing this. And Let's select okay. So I will take a very simple case for drop-down list. Now what happens, drop-down is good, but it is not good if I have, let me create a single list out of this. If I have equal v stack this, comma this, comma this, and comma this. So if you have a list of so many cities, then the person who is entering, and it can be more also, the person who is entering will really find it difficult to go and select his required city. Okay, so that's why we want to limit it as per nearby fields which he has already entered. Okay, maybe which are at a higher level. That means I don't want to show this list to the data entry guy because it is having 12 items. Okay, what I want to show is before the city, he needs to enter country, and then if he is entering UAE, there are only 3 choices. If he's having India, there are only 3 choices, and like that, we can have 3, 4, 5. Okay, so he just need to focus on those 3, and it will be much easier for him to select the required city. Okay, now how to create a country drop down? That's very easy. So I will first make this as a table. It has not selected my headers because there is no other data. So I need to say that it is having headers. And now this is the first row. What would be my data validation here? I'm going manual way. I can go dynamic also, but I'm simply going manual way. So it is nothing but, or let's create a drop down. This area, these 4 cells, I will name it as country. Right? So now when I'm going there, I don't need to name it, but just for my better understanding, okay, rather than remembering F1 to I1, what is that? I can simply remember country. That's easier to remember, right? That's why I named it. So this area I am named as country. And when I go to data validation in this cell, I'm saying it should be a list, and I know the name of that list, so I can type country and click OK. And this is working fine. Let's say I select India. Now, when this is selected India, in the next cell, I just want these 3 items to appear. Okay, and that's why we call it dependent drop-down list, because it is dependent on the country column. Okay, so how to create it? So for that, first I need to create names for what is the meaning of, what is the list of cities in UAE, what is the list of cities in India, and like that. So one by one I can create. Okay, one by one I can create. How? I can select these cells and then I can type UAE here. I can select these cells and then I can type India, or maybe I can right click and go for define name, and then here I can type India. Okay, so that way I can do. But if your list is of similar length, what you can do, you can select all of them. Okay, before that, I'll go to formulas, name managers. There's only country and there's this table. These are the only 2 names, right? There's no India, there's no Saudi, something like that. I've selected these cells, okay, because this is the content of names which I want to create. And then you can go to formula tab. Here there is an option of create from selection, create the names from the selection itself. And then it is asking me, create the names from the values. So these are the content, but in this content, do you have the names also? And I will say that, okay, pick up the names from the top row. So for these 3 cells, my name should be UAE. For these 3 cells, my name should be India. And when I click OK, rather than one by one creating these 4 names for each country, now if I look at my name manager, you see all those names are created in one go. Okay, you can go and create manually also, that's fine, because these things are generally one-time job. But if it is a uniform structure of same length, then you can select like this. You can go to Formula tab, create from selection, and you can decide based on your data that which cell or which top row is having, or left row is having, or bottom row is having the names for your content. Now, if you look at those names, what we are saying, India is having 3 cells: Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore. Okay, G2 to G4, which is correct. Same way, South is having 3, H2 to H4. Okay, and if these are of different length, like South is having 5 cities, India is having 10 cities, then go manually also. But when it is of similar length and number of rows are same, we can go from this create from selection also. So that will save some time for you. One way or other, your country names should be there with their cities. Okay. Now, here, if I simply say equal this, then I get same India. Okay. So I will explain you here. If I simply say equal this cell, so it gives me same cell. So this is just a text India. But if you see, there is a name range which is known as India. So actually I want to call this list, not this cell. I wanted to call this list, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, give me that list. Okay. But whenever we write a formula, we only know formula like this, equal and whatever cell. And it doesn't give me that like content behind that name. So there's a function, very like subtle function, which like people don't remember it or they don't use it a lot. But there's a function known as indirect. And indirect function, what it does, whatever you give inside the bracket. So we are giving India, like content is India. So it will not take India as India, a text. It will think whatever is written in that, do you have a name range for that? And when I press enter, you see, it doesn't pull India. It is thinking indirectly, okay, I need to treat this as a name range. And then I need to fetch those things. So that's the role of indirect function. Whatever you do, B2, even if I write simple B2, it will give you that name range because you have told that don't take the exact or text value of that cell. You need to think indirectly and treat it as a name range. Okay. Now this functionality will help us. So what I will do, I will delete this. It's simply indirect of B2. Okay. And let's say I freeze. I put dollar here because column B, it should be dependent on. I don't want when I move left or right, it should not be moved, right? Only column B should be fixed. So I'm taking this formula, whatever I've written here. I'm setting a data validation here. Data validation. It is again a list. But where will that list come from? I will say you have to use this function. So take the list from this cell, but this cell will just give you a text. So you use it indirectly. That means you use the name range behind that text. And when I click OK, and here we can put data validation, something like first type the country and then select from drop down, because if country name is not there, then the list will not fetch anything, right? So country name is must, and that's why this additional text will help you a lot. And when I go there, it fetches me those 3 values. And let's type another row. That's for Saudi. and it fetches me Saudi related items. Others, and that gives me other countries. So I will repeat the steps. First, whatever you are going to enter here, that should be a name range. Even if it is not a name range, we can manually select that range, like we did a department drop-down list for the first time. Okay. But whatever values will come here, they should have a name and there should be a content behind that name in this list. Okay, let's say tomorrow we add one more country in the business. Let's take what do we have? Let's take Asia. Okay, and Asia is having Vietnam, Thailand, China, and like that I want to add this one, and I have something like Japan. Okay, and like that. So I've planned for earlier 4 countries or 4 those kind of categories. Now I am trying to create these things. I will call it as Asia. Okay, and this is not enough because earlier my country is having only this. So I will maybe create a new name for countries, or maybe I can type something manually. Let's remove the data validation from here so that I would be able to type this Asia also. Here I will put any value. Okay, and I will type Asia. This is named as Asia already, right? Which means this will give me those 4 items. So these 4 values, these 5 values, one name can be created for that. And for each name, we should have a content in the back of those names. That's how dependent drop-down works. So I will repeat the steps here first. So first, have names for the bigger category. Okay. So whatever you want to enter here, create a name range for that. That is optional. It is not necessary. Like I removed the data validation, but still I was able to type it correctly. But if you place a data validation, it will be easier. Okay, the chances of mistakes in this column itself will be less, right? Then have name ranges for each value of bigger category name. Whatever are the possibilities in this column, we should have a name range for that. And what is the content behind that name range? And then in the data validation for the second level of column, we will use equal, indirect, and whatever is that cell. This column, we need to pick one of the cell. Okay, so let's keep it text, equal, indirect, and we can call it B2, something like that, and use dollars properly so that when you move up and down, it should automatically change the reference. Okay, so these are the 3 things which you need to do for dependent drop-down list. Now, I know there are multiple steps, and watch the video again and again, then only you will get used to it. Initially, I was also facing issues understanding this, but this is a good one. And unless there is a situation, don't use it just for using it. Okay, so if your situation doesn't demand, then don't go for it. Okay, but it is good if you are having really big list of cities or whatever items you want to show, and you want to really reduce it for the person who is entering the data, then it makes sense. Okay, not just for that I know a fancy trick and I will use it. Okay, now I am open for questions.
सर जो आपने B कॉलम फ्रीज करा था, अगर वो freeze ना भी करे तब भी तो आंसर आ जाएगा.
Answer आ जाएगा. Only thing is, if by mistake someone moves it left and right, then it will show error. If whatever is the formula, like if I try to copy this and paste it somewhere here, so then my B2 reference will change to C2. Okay, and then things may go wrong. That's why. Okay. Otherwise, in this case, answer aa jayega, as long as I am not doing, because here the movement was happening vertically.
Okay, sir.
But make sure when you type it directly in the data validation formula. So let's say I type data validation directly here. Data validation. Or let's try to type it here. नहीं खाया मैंने. So list, and here if you try to type the formula directly in direct, and then you select the cell. Do you see? It is picking dollars in both these components. Okay, so you need to tweak it. You need to remove the dollar before 2. Otherwise, it will always be fixed on the first cell. It will always be cities of India. Okay, so that much you need to tweak with B column with dollar or without dollar. It will still work in this scenario at least. Okay. Next question.
Akhilesh, hi. Anita here. I've joined from Udita's screen. Today is my first class for Excel. So where I will find the basics, because, you know, I got most of the thing, but this formula thing is little bouncer for me, you know.
So, Anita, I would say that go in a structured manner, whatever course is suggesting you. Okay. And you will be able to grasp these things. So if I show you the course content itself, okay, I have this data validation not immediately. Okay, I have kept it at a later stage because I knew that data validation, if I go to a little bit advanced, it requires understanding of formulas. So I have no, although it is a basic concept of inserting a drop down, but I kept it after covering the formulas so that you don't have any difficulties to understand this. Okay, so always go in the structured manner, but some of you are already having some knowledge of these different things, and that's why you can come back to this particular recording after going through those concepts. So if I show you here,
so sorry, can you get this recording, sir? In the classroom?
It will be available. Okay.
Okay, sir. You're going in detail, sir. So
yeah, so that was the intent, and that's why I said that okay, basic ones you come prepared because that's already there. No, it is pointless for me to repeat it, and for you also. It is a waste of time. So
great, sir.
Go through the basics, and then here we will discuss a little bit of more challenging scenarios, okay, which you may be facing at your workplace. Okay.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
So here, okay, again it is.
Akhilesh, this validation will be also required during Power BI session?
No, it is not for Power BI session. Okay. So if you see here, how I am like how I have structured the course. I am first taking you through the number formatting. Okay, like I type date, how they should be formatted, how numbers should be formatted. Then I am teaching you how to use dollars, when to use dollars, and other things, basic things. Then I am teaching you the name ranges and Excel tables, how to create those names, why they are important for us. And then I go into the formulas, aggregation formulas, because that's the first function which you learn, sum function, okay, average function, maximum. And then date functions, they're also easy. We are dealing with dates again and again every day. So date related functions. Then a little bit of more advanced functions like logical functions. Then I bring the data validation. I could have brought this much earlier. Okay, because it is a basic concept. But to go advanced, you need understanding of those things. Okay, so
how to take this, because I was not able to do that. After completing 2 sections, it was showing that 0% progress.
Okay, see, don't worry about the progress. Who is worried about progress? You need to learn. Okay, and the completion will be shown as soon as you mark complete. Okay, because this tool doesn't know that you have just watched it or maybe you switched it on, you went away, okay, it is still completed. So that's why they have given a flexibility that whenever a student says complete, then only they will mark it as complete.
How to mark? There was no option showing that.
There is a bottom option.
At the
In
bottom, there is an
bottom.
option.
Complete.
Can you please show that?
Let's see if I can. I'm maybe logged in, but it's very easy. Okay. Someone was asking the question. So I think this is the one. Complete and control,
Okay,
right?
okay, fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this, whatever you showed the different module, Akhilesh, we all have access for all those?
Yeah, so the basic one was already there and we missed this one out, and Akash already reported us. And now this recording will always be there, and we will plug this like this particular portion into that course also. So you will have it everywhere.
Okay. So, and when will be the next session, Akhilesh, so that we can practice over weekend as
So
well?
it is weekly, and now we are like mostly having it on Wednesday same time. Okay, so you can mark it on your calendar. If possible, try to avoid other engagements during this time. And I would appreciate if more and more people come and ask questions, because that really helps us in better understanding. Okay, so Wednesday 9:30 p.m. India time, that's what we are like planning most of the time. But again, if needed, we will deviate it sometimes.
And what will be the topic for the next class?
We will, like, we have not decided yet. Okay, and you can also suggest some of the topics, and we will think whatever is common. We can discuss some of the common topics. Whoever is like whichever topic gets more votes. Okay, it's all yours. Okay.
Akhilesh, this is my first class and I'll try to log in that link, but it is asking me for enroll. So I actually type my email ID also, but your email ID is not enrolled. That error is coming.
So Rupali, mail your situation to this ID. Okay, and my team will help. Okay, there is a person known as Tanmay, and he will help you resolve that access issue.
Yeah, I WhatsApp him, but I don't think he read it.
So generally, like, don't expect the immediate response, but he will attend to it. And if you do it on the mails, it will be much easier because he will not miss it. Mails, like, multiple people are checking. Okay, WhatsApp, only that person will check. Okay, so always follow the mails for any kind of problems.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Sir, Niranjan here. I have a continuation question on this example, which is very useful for us. Now we have India, and based on India, we were able to select the cities. So is it possible to extend it to districts and then villages also, like
yes, so
3-tier and 4-tier?
up to you. So here I use the validation from this cell. I can create further maybe pin codes or something, and I can type, let's say, something like area. And for this, I will use that data validation for each city. But then for each city, I should have a list of all the names or all the items, right? So it can go on and on and on.
In that scenario, how can I manage the data? How can I put the content? So suppose now for a country, you have we have the cities under it, and we are able to select that range. Suppose if we want to have a couple of districts under Delhi or Mumbai or Bangalore, how
So
do I prepare my data?
I will have here maybe Delhi, okay, and under Delhi I will have maybe Pithampura, okay, I will have maybe Rajouri Garden, okay, and then I will create a name range for Delhi also. So I will name this cell, whatever number of items are there in Delhi, I will name these cells as Delhi. Okay, now let's try to use it. Okay, anyway, I have typed more than that. So let's type some more name. Mayur, Vihar, and give me some more names, guys.
New Delhi.
New Delhi, and Vasant Vihar.
Indraprastha.
Indraprastha. Doesn't matter. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
So now all these things are known as Delhi, or these things are known as Delhi. What was Delhi? Let's see. What was Delhi? So it is some more lines. Anyway, let them be empty. So here in India, I have selected, and here I have an option of Delhi, and here I will put a data validation, and that data validation should be a list, and here I will write equal indirect indirect, and then cell I will select this. It's always better to type these formulas outside, like in the normal cell, so that your problem will be less. And this one, okay, column C I am fixing, row number 2 I am not fixing. Close the bracket and press enter. And here it will show me only those things. So anything, first the countries, there should be a name. For each cell, there should be a content, or there should be a name. Under that, for each city, there should be a name, and then you can keep on cascading this multiple levels. And again, here we went manually, that UAE is having only 3 cells, so I named it manually. If you think that tomorrow it can become 4 cities or 5 cities, you from the beginning itself you start as a table and create that dynamic way, so that next time you don't have to manually set it up. Because now think of so many names. If you have to manually change each name, it will be a lot of work. So from the beginning itself, start with dynamic drop downs, the one which we used using table columns. Okay. Understood?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, next question.
What other?
Do it in a reverse way, sir. Like suppose if I select a district, it should automatically populate city and.
No, though then we don't need data validation. We need something like VLOOKUP, index match, something like that. Okay. So if you are entering a granular level data, then you can use VLOOKUP, because Pitampura will always belong to some Delhi or something like India, something like that. So you create a data table like that. VLOOKUP can handle it very easily. Yes, Rupali.
What other functions we can use from data validation other than list?
There are many actually. So let's say I will open the previous file. Do you remember that salary data validation which I created? Okay, and I typed, okay, my number should be greater than 0, because it was forcing me to select an additional criteria. Okay, that's why I selected, okay, let's put greater than 0, because my salaries will always be greater than 0. But can I have salary as 1 dirham, 1 rupee? Mostly no, right? So I don't want to put that additional condition. I just wanted it to be a number, so that I can add it, I can average it, I can take maximum salary. So you can use, so there are something like data type, data validation, and here this is the like suggested categories of data validation. But whenever you want to go a little bit advanced, go with this custom. And now it is based on a formula. You need to write a formula, and that formula can be any complex formula, simple formula, complex formula. So let's say if I want to keep a data validation that column G should have only numbers. So I can type is number, open bracket, and this cell. So if my G2 is a number, there's a function known which checks whether it is a number or not a number. I just want that much. That's enough for my validation. Whether it is negative salary, 0 salary, positive salary, I don't care, right? It should be a number. So here I can type -5,000. It works. I can type 0.056, something like that. It works. As soon as I try to type text, it doesn't work. So that was my requirement actually. That was the intent behind the salary column data validation.
How can you assign to that the between the range your value? Like it is a 10 to
very easy. So select the decimal or whichever category you belong to, and then automatically it shows between not equal to greater than different parameters which you want to enter.
Let's go for the between. Yeah.
So then it will give you two options. You can refer any particular cell, okay, or maybe you can refer any formula, anything, whatever you want to put, and hard-coded numbers also. So let's say my salary minimum should be 1,000 rupees, whatever is the 300 is the labor charge, right? So let's put 10,000 minimum salary, and then maximum can go up to maybe 25 to 250,000. Okay. So now you can see, because it was already entered, it is showing us with this green mark that, okay, this doesn't fit with the current latest validation. You have already entered it, that's why we can't do anything. Okay, but let's say I try to change it. My number is 75,000. It allows. If I try to type 3 lakh, that's not allowed because it's beyond 2.5 lakh. So whenever you want to go beyond what is not there in this list, always follow custom and write a formula here. You cannot write a VLOOKUP formula or XLOOKUP formula or if condition. You have to write a formula, and that formula should give results in the form of true and false. Whenever that formula result will be true, it will allow it. Whenever that formula results will be false, it will reject it. Simple.
Yeah, what does it call as ignore blank? You just tick off to that.
Oh, I've never bothered to notice it, but maybe in the cell, if it is blank, blank is actually not greater than 5,000 or less than 250,000, right? But it is not matching to that range. So we are saying that, okay, for the blanks, ignore the errors. You can't say that blank is an error. I have not entered the data itself. How can you say it is an error, right? So that kind of thing it is. Okay. Next question. So let's say, I will give you an example. My employee type should be like this, right? E004. But what is the data validation here? The data validation is text length is equal to 4. What if the person types 1, 2, 3, 4? It is not what I was expecting, but it is fitting to the data validation which I have kept. So how to create a data validation so that it looks something like E004 or E010, something like that. How to put a data validation like that? Okay. Now you think of it. I need to divide it into two sections. I can say E and I can say 004. Right? This is fine with everyone. Now, how can I say E? So I will say whatever you are entering, I will say left of this cell, whatever you are entering, and one character that should be equal to double quote E. Okay, and which is not currently the case, right? So the E part I can handle like this. I will write this condition. But I need to handle the other part. That should be a number, right? The last 3 digits should be a number. And how can I check? So this 00, because it is extracted from a text cell, I can write something like that. Okay, I can write something like equal value function of right of this cell, comma 3 characters. Write 3 characters and convert them into value, because if it is a text part, it will not be like proper. So I'm saying that value function of write 3 characters, and then I will implement that should be a number and close the bracket at the end. So that's true. So that is matching. Last 3 digits are number, but the first digit is not a text, and that text should also be E. So that means it should not be allowed. Now, how to combine them? We just need to write them in one single place. So here I will take this. And I will write it here. And I need both of them, both the logics to be true. Then only it should be allowed. So I will type AND function, because AND function handles multiple logics, comma, the next logic. So what I am saying in this logic, take this cell, take the first character and check whether it is equaling to E. In the second logic, I am saying, take the last 3 characters, convert it into a value, and then check if it is a number or not. Okay, both the logic should be same, and that's why I am keeping AND function, because AND function makes sure that whatever conditions you have mentioned, all of them needs to be true. So this is a formula, little bit complex, but this is a formula which we need to put. Now, if I implement this, in the data validation, and here I will go for custom, and here I will write the formula. Make sure whatever formula you are writing should be equal to true and false. I wrote a very complex formula, but ultimate result is true and false. Whenever it's false, it will not allow. Whenever it's true, it will allow. So I will click OK. Did I forward something? Equal E and left is number. What is missing here? Maybe one bracket, I hope. Okay. Let's fix it. Let's change this cell to simple one, D2. D2. Let's change this one also to D2. Okay. It looks easy. Data validation, custom. Okay. So it is saying, because it was already entered, it is showing green, but let's try to check it from the beginning. So I am typing something like E00, E010. Allowed. I am typing 0010. Not allowed because E is not there. I am typing E10. That's not allowed because last 3 digits are not a number. Okay. So you just need to think logically. Again, don't get stressed because of whatever formula you are seeing currently. It requires understanding of logical functions. It requires understanding of text functions. Okay. So logical functions is AND function and is number. Text functions is left, right, and all those things. Okay. You will get to it, but I am just showing the possibilities that you can extend your data validation in the form of dynamic drop-down, in the form of dependent drop-down, and the simple ones also, number checking, text checking, date checking, and other things. Okay.
Just one more question. In the left column, I have a specification which is called 1.0 to 2.0. But next, I have a result column. In the result column, if the result I typed in 0.90 or to the about 2, or it's a 2.1 or 2.5. So it needs to be highlighted with some other color, like red color. It needs to give some warning. How can I do it that?
That is not data validation. It is because you want highlighting. That is part of conditional formatting. Okay. So let's say my salary range, as we said earlier, 5,000. Sorry, 5,000, and the other number is 25 or 2,50,000. And now I am entering this cell. Okay. So this, if it is inside, then okay. No, let me put it here, some random number. Okay. So if this number is between these two cells, then okay. If it is not the case, then highlight. So then you need to go to Home tab, Conditional Formatting, highlight cell rules, and there's an option of between. Okay, between which cells? So this one I will pick from this. For this one, I will pick from this, and whatever color you want in the highlighting, and click OK. And now let's say I type only 1000. It is not highlighting. Okay, or you can like do it other way also. Okay, so I just selected between the two elements. You can say greater than something, less than something. You can put two rules, and then it will highlight. So for that, you need to understand the conditional formatting section, which is there around like toward the end.
Sir, between function में 5,000 और 2,50,000 include है? एक बार check करना sir, 5,000 डाल के.
Included होगा. It is included.
And एक चीज और पूछनी है सर, ये डाटा वैलिडेशन में हाँ इस नंबर यूज करा आपने, तो वो तो नंबर फाइंड कर रहा है, पर वैल्यू फंक्शन किस लिए यूज करा आपने?
So value function से 004 है. Okay, what do you think of this? This is a number or not a number?
तो सर वो तो इस नंबर भी कर रहा है.
इस नंबर को चेक कर रहा है. 004 is not a number itself. It is a text. It was extracted. It is last 3 digits of this, and this total was text. That's why it is still text. So do you see this warning? It says that number is stored as text. So is number will fail here, most probably. Okay. So each number checks if there is a number, and it will say if it is a number, true. If it is not a number, false. The value function converts a number stored as a text into a real number.
Okay,
it has removed the additional formatting and other things. And that's why I did that first, so that if it is a number, forget the format, it will be converted into a proper number. And then I was applying my logic.
कहने का मतलब है कि पहले टेक्स्ट को वैल्यू फंक्शन टेक्स्ट को नंबर में कन्वर्ट कर रहा है, और फिर इस नंबर चेक कर रहा है कि वो नंबर है कि नहीं.
Yes, correct. अगर मेरे पास if it was only a simple number, okay, so normally left, right, mid, all these things will give you a text result. Okay, even if it looks like a number, it will give you a text result. So we need to transform that into a value, numeric format, or we will need to convert that numerically. So that's
पर अगर वैल्यू फंक्शन ने उसको टेक्स्ट को नंबर कन्वर्ट कर दिया, तो फिर हम इस नंबर लगा के नंबर क्यों चेक कर रहे हैं?
नहीं, तो let's say it was like this. Okay, and here it was equal, right, of this cell and 3 characters. Okay, so 3 characters to nikal liye. Now is number, so value function is able to check whether that will give results or not. Okay, now if it was 004, then also is number will fail because that is not a number yet. Okay, so value function makes sure that if something is convertible, then only it will give you the result, otherwise it will give you some error. Okay, it will not allow otherwise. So if it is 004, something like that, let's change it from here. Then value was able to give result, and each number can handle this. Each number cannot handle this directly, or because here currently it is 004, but what if it was A04? Each number cannot handle it. Okay.
Okay.
Next question. And sometimes like maybe the way you are thinking might have some additional steps or additional functions which may not be required as per the situation. So situation to the situation, we will see whether some function is required or we can eliminate that particular need. Okay. In this case, value is important because it will be able to convert the text format of the number into the real number. And then each number will evaluate it further. Next question, guys. No question? बोलो कि रात भर चलते रहना है. Okay. I'm not able to hear you, Pulla.
No.
Okay. So then I think we are good. We covered a lot of things. Focus on the data validation side. Watch the initial videos first and then repeat this again and again. Some of the advanced stuffs you may not get it right now. Okay. But once you cover other sections of the course, it will be much easier to understand. Okay. Because these are simple functions. Or course is having AND function, left, right, mid, all those things, value function, all these things are there in the course. Okay. So my wish is that you cover all the things, at least the topics which are mentioned in the course. And then our doubt sessions or live sessions become much more powerful, because then we can discuss your day-to-day work problems. Okay. The course is just giving you the concepts. Here we can discuss the implementation of those concepts, because here multiple things in one single formulas will be used. So unless you cover the concepts, how will you understand those concepts? Okay. So I suggest regularly watch like 1 or 2 videos, maybe 2-3 videos. Okay. In every alternate day at least, or 1 video every day. That's fine. And you will be able to understand more and more of what we discussed during these live sessions. Okay.
सर एक क्वेश्चन है, आपने बोला था ना कि एक सेशन रखेंगे आप पावर बीआई के लिए.
हाँ, वो अभी डेट डिसाइड नहीं हुआ है, so we will let you know. Okay.
Okay. और एंड जिसने पावर बीआई वाला कोर्स लिया है उनके लिए सेशंस अलग से होंगे वीकली.
अभी उतना वॉल्यूम नहीं है. लाइक काजल इज आल्सो लाइक शी जॉइंड टुडे. Okay, and so we have more people and we will create a separate batch and then we will discuss those things separately. Okay, but abhi us time tak pahunchne ke liye kafi kuch hai aapke paas padhne ko, so go through that. Okay, and uske baad we will handle that also. Yes, someone was asking something, I guess.
Sir, how are the job opportunities on Power BI for freshers? Do they take or
what job offer?
How are the job opportunities for freshers on Power BI?
It's quite good. Very good, I would say. Okay.
Very good. What is the basic knowledge is required for the Power BI?
Nothing. If you have Excel knowledge, it will help you to understand things. Okay, but it doesn't need your Excel knowledge actually.
Any coding or programming knowledge is required? Will it be?
No. Even I don't know programming. Okay, so don't expect me to teach you programming. Okay, I will still make you like a better analyst.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Akhilesh. Yeah, because can I connect to anyone to the who can do some data? What does it? Your data analysis for the regression analysis. Who are there in the F test and T test? Is possible?
Let's see what exact need you have. Maybe we can connect separately sometime, and then we will think of someone. Okay, I'm not sure who can be the right person.
Okay, no problem. Actually, it's related to the data. Actually, it's related to the hypothesis whether the data set is correct or not. There is some the statistical analysis like F test and T test. I think in Excel only it is available in the data tool pack. I just wanted to understand to that what is the interpretation of those things, the F test and the T test and the paid analysis, the T test and the.
I'm not the right person for that, but if I get someone, then we can connect you. Okay, but currently no one is coming in my mind.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
What's your job role?
Actually, I'm working as a senior manager in quality assurance in a pharmaceutical industry, where I'm dealing from the products, manufacturing of the products, quality checking, and to understanding the data analysis of those things.
So you use statistics.
Yes, yes, yes. I use some of the mini tabs. I use some of the data analysis tabs.
Next
Yes,
question.
yes.
Next question, guys.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Hema.
Sir, in future, I have any doubts. It's the conducting sessions.
Sorry, your voice was breaking in between. Can you repeat?
In future, I have any doubts. It's possible to connect the live sessions.
Yes, like you can connect every time, right? Every week you can connect.
Okay, sir. Okay.
You're asking for
Because it is the class session.
one-to-one connections will be difficult. Okay, like this you can connect. 52 weeks we are having, guys. 52 weeks are more than enough to learn Excel and Power BI. Okay, so you attend each and every session. 52 weeks. I am aware that you will not come all the 52 weeks. Problem is that.
So it's a Power BI is also included in this Excel, or it's a separate one?
No, it's a separate one.
Okay, 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 fine.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, guys. If no other questions, then let's close the call. Thank you very much for coming again and spending 1.5 hours. And it was, I think, meaningful only. Then only we reached to 90 minutes. And first, understand the concepts on the platform, and then watch these lessons, live sessions again and again. And uske baad bhi kuch doubt hai, we can take these sessions again. Okay, not an issue. Same topic we can repeat if something is not clear. And I would also suggest that fill the questionnaires which we have on the WhatsApp group and suggest us some topics so that we can take those topics in the upcoming sessions. Okay, whatever is most common requested by you, we will take those topics.
Sir, आप एक बता रहे थे community build करेंगे आप.
हाँ, so we are working on that. We will start with the Google form itself. Okay, I'm just thinking like I have so many questions to ask from you guys, but then I thought कि सब लोग भरेंगे क्या? अभी WhatsApp group ही नहीं join करा है कुछ लोगों ने तो. ठीक है. So I'm just thinking कि उसको कितना बड़ा या कितना छोटा रखना है. Okay, and then we'll create a maybe Power BI dashboard on that data so that you all can access it. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
This is Sachin here. Just one question as to where can I find today's recording session?
Okay, so let me show you.
Yeah.
So here this group is there. Go to the descriptions and you have this URL.
Okay.
Which shows a Google Sheet.
All right.
And that Google Sheet is having list of all the previous sessions.
All right, great. Yeah.
We will add the today's one also.
Fine, fine. Okay. All right. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was a wonderful session.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. See you next time. And तब तक थोड़ा बहुत और पढ़ लेना. ठीक है?
Sure. Thanks, Akhilesh. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good night.
Good night.